As we delve into this video, let me give you some background information. The Turbulent Seas is a passion project that has been single-handedly developed by Raweggthegreat. Ra has honored me enough to allow me to see what kind of chemicals he's been brewing and smoking for the past year. So disclaimer please, anything seen in this video is unfinished and not completely guaranteed to be released in the next TTS overhaul. Thank you for your short attention spans. Let's move on. I'm gonna grab myself a coffee. Brewed coffee. Yeah, I actually have this written down in the script. It's 4 AM, please don't judge. I made some poor life decisions to get us here. And yes, I also wrote this in the script as well. This is all scripted, guys. My life is a lie. How do you raise sail? Oh, lower sail?
You just raise, are you retarded? You just say lower sails.
Sorry, excuse me. Did you just use the R word? What if I was retarded?
Yeah, I did.
It appears since we've last spoken, Ra has hit in puberty and has grown senile. I wouldn't want to get into specifics, but he quite clearly inherits the traits of a disgruntled old man. Probably all of this developing is finally getting to him. Fitting for a boat game developer. Lower sails or lower sail?
Lower sails, S. Well, then you don't have a ship spawn or something, I don't know.
We're looking at my... one of these is my ships. Oh, that's my ship over there that's going away. This right here is Andrew's ship.
Oh, no. Do not. Don't helm the ship.
What is wrong with the helm?
Because if other people helm it, for some reason it freaks out. But you can see that there's an animation now. It's procedurally animated.
Does it have something to do with like a client, like because I'm kind of a separate computer or like a separate?
Yeah, basically everything is that now.
Because you're like the host of it, it technically responds to you correctly, but like someone else.
No, it's not. That's not how it works. This isn't physics.
No, how does it work?
This isn't like a script sees that I'm helming. On your end, it calculates where my arm should be because it doesn't use like an actual animation. It's like it's a procedural one.
What is procedural?
That's why. In terms of animation, it just means it's not predetermined. It like adapts because you can see how it adapts to my hands. It works really good because if I have two helmers, like one right here, it will actually adjust to the my hands will go to the ones on the side.
And I heard you mentioning earlier in the showcase, during the showcase, that you were still going to add, so like, you know, in the final product, you won't be saying raise sails and lower sails to get the ship moving. Final product,
Heisenberg. Yeah.
Shut up. Okay. Anyways, you have to like you still have to manually adjust the sails.
Same as before.
As before, yeah.
You probably will have NPCs that do it.
And will you fix the game mechanic, the game controls, like? So you don't have to press U, you don't have to press H to helm. Could it just be like E, F, or you know, something a little bit more comfortable?
Probably just so that the you don't activate 20 things at once. These are the helm rope. You can see that it goes down here, and then it goes down to the this step. Yeah, because the HMS Victory, and I'm pretty sure a lot more ship, they just had their ropes out in the open, like unprotected. These will be cut. Like there will be an ability to cut them, but not right now.
What do you mean by cut them?
See that?
Like sabotage?
Like if they if an enemy goes, they'll get like a prompt like to cut the ropes. It takes like 5 seconds, and then they'll be able to cut it. And then this is actually how ships turn. This is the tiller, like right behind this is the rudder. If the helm gets broken, you'll be forced to turn this tiller. The tiller won't break, but the rudder will. But it's much harder to break the rudder because it's like underwater. And even if like the rudder and everything is broken, you can actually turn using the sails. It'll be like incredibly ineffective. So if you like tilt these sails 45 degrees and this one the opposite way, the ship will turn like very slowly in the other direction. This is just a placeholder. You can place furniture here, and this is where you can
pimp out,
grind ship conditions, because you can just spam really luxurious furniture right here.
This is basically to replace the housing update.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Oh my god, are you gonna add pets?
Everywhere. I think the poop unicorn, and once I add it, Roblox servers will die. You won't be able to place furniture here because the pathfinding for the NPCs. You could make furniture right here and make a small room down here.
Would there be like different kinds of determined furniture? So like there's furniture for cosmetic purposes, but then there's stuff like cannons and stuff like
they're going to be decked out. That's like a different like system. Okay. From here to like this area, you won't be able to pick furniture. Just so that again for the pathfinding. Down here, you won't be able to place furniture at all. It also acts as a way to, like, not, like, block the path for enemy pirates to steal your cargo. They'll be able to actually go down here and steal it. But, right, like, maybe here, and, like, the sides, you will be able to place furniture. I guess I would say, where my head is, actually, if you go to the side, you'll see. Hug the sides of the water will spawn because it thinks you're outside. You can see that the waterline is basically on this level. The waterline is on this level, and sometimes when you're in heavy seas, the waterline will actually be on this deck. By the way, this deck right here will be the waterline, and this area, like the waves would actually touch these things, but it won't flood the ships, just for ballasting. It would kind of suck to just flood continually.
Yeah.
And this deck is like always underwater. The all-up deck. Yeah, the very bottom one. This is like the quote-unquote new deck. This is where all the cargo is going to be. Controller support probably.
Yeah, I can see controller support. Mobile, maybe mobile?
It's kind of easy to add it. There already is mobile support. But the inventory is not ready yet. You can like equip it, like the actual visuals are there, but it's like the slots are not connected to your inventory. They're not connected to your inventory. There's like a folder under your player thing that like has all your that has your inventory and the slots and everything.
Can add a
crow's nest. It'll be like an tactical thing that you can add. This right here is not the crow's nest.
I know, you've already told me that. You scolded me in my video.
The mast top is different. This is, you can store ropes here. Like there'll be a grab rope, and you can hit yes or no, and this is where you actually fix a good amount of the rigging. So like rigging right here, if it snaps, like right on the top.
Yep.
That's where the crow's nest is meant to be. You see these, it's called the Jacob's ladder. Like if you attach the crow's nest, like these Jacob's ladders will continue going up. The mast top is meant to get access to the sails themselves. Especially here if you need to make repair. Of course, you can always have NPCs do it, but you have to like decide if you want more people to work on the sail, or more people to work on the cannons, or more people to work on water out. There's going to be like a health buff ships that's going to be called hull integrity. If the hull integrity is low, or if the hull integrity is below 50 or something like that, it will start leaking slowly, and then if it's at 0, the ship will flood quite quickly. Like the ship is still going to be technically afloat if you have the entire server bailing it and using water pumps to get out. I guess you could make the ship survive for a few minutes. if you're lucky, and you could like cause a fire on the ship, and if the captain of the galleon is not the smartest, they might not prioritize. They might not prioritize taking the fire out, and then the ship burns, and of course the fire reduces the hull integrity, and then like the fire. Because the fire is getting bigger and bigger, the amount of damage that the ship gets it increases exponentially. So eventually there's like a point of no return where the ship is basically dead. Alright, thanks for filming me. That was very nice.
Hey, no problem. Navigation-wise, so navigation's going to be something that you'd have like a room for, like you'd have a map in a room or something, or are you on your character? On your person?
You'd have to. Well, it's going to be a minimap, an option to add a map onto the ship. It's like synchronized with everyone, so you can see everything. But I guess one of the requirements for that is having every part of the map unlocked, so that you see the entire map. And so that you can, and also that you can
get a charter map. You can chart a map on your ship.
Yeah, that as well. I feel like that would be a cool thing.
And then on your person, what if like there's just a mini map for the town? So when you go to a town, it tells you all the shops and whatnot are. And then when you're out in the ocean, it's on your ship.
Wait, it's gonna be zoomed in like a lot, especially when you're in a port.
Okay.
If you're in a port or something, it's gonna be zoomed in. The map is really big, and the issue with the map before is that if you pressed F, it showed you everything.
Because I really do like the idea of using a compass.
Use like a smaller map, and that's what you're gonna have to manually zoom out if you want to see the entire map, and that just shows people that the map is big and that they don't have to travel like 9 hours just to get to the other side of the map. It's also gonna be fast travel if you've actually gone to that area. Only if you've covered the island, and it costs. It's gonna cost the doubloons.
I can like get the idea. Like the concept could be like you're getting
it's gonna
a free trip.
It's gonna be a bit more expensive for the. It's not gonna be super affordable for the sloop players, because their main goal is to explore the game, and I guess if they. And plus, when you first join the game, I guess sailing is fun, but then as you play, it gets boring.
Sailing itself, like, yay, fun maintaining a ship, but like, will there be anything else in the ocean that will potentially make it a little bit more exciting?
Well, I've already said. I think I made a poll like 6 months ago. It was a really long time ago. I'm still gonna do it. Having like storms and stuff will damage your ship, and huge waves that like crash into your ship will also do damage. So you have to look out for that.
Because right now it just feels like it's going to be like sort of a sailing simulation, and any YouTube channels that are going to be based on it are going to be like.
Well, that's what it is. Well, that's what the game currently is. Just because of the lack of content, there's not much to do. That's why the game is boring. It's just sailing. There's no main objective. The people who like discover the game like it, and then they go away, and there's no one really stays for the game.
Competing with Tradelands, the only thing Tradelands has on top of it, and I'm just only mentioning Tradelands because it also is very bland when it comes to sailing. You're sailing between islands, right? The only thing it has on top of it is like.
Tradelands has the thing where you don't travel for 9 hours. That's the one thing that Tradelands has.
Well,
I guess.
It's not particularly bad, I was thinking.
Unless you're traveling to Berkland, or like some place that's not in the main, or is it called Central Grand Isles, or whatever it's called.
But what I was going to say was
the thing that Tradelands has, I don't care. You're going to be silenced. One thing that Tradelands has that like compensates for that is just like the role playing aspect. It has like navies. It has you can also just I guess. Yeah, rejoining is technically fast travel. You can just go to another island, just by rejoining, or at least the main islands. It's gonna be kind of similar here, except you don't spawn into them, but you have the option to go to them for a small fee or a high fee, depending on how progressed you are in the game. Tradelands also has like houses and stuff. It has a lot more content to compensate for the sailing.
What I was going to say was, so I feel like the idea, what appeals what makes trade lines appealing to the player base isn't so much about sailing, because the game's, you know, lacking in that. Neither combat. What people usually play trade lines for is the glowies, the cosmetics, the ability to customize your house. It's become like basically any front-page game.
Well, I stayed for trade lines. I really like the house aspect and just owning group.
It has
I really liked about it.
And then you know, dedicated members would get into lore, but like and stuff like that. It's been harder to get into that kind of stuff. I was going to say, what really differs this game from trade lines is, yes, you have to travel further, which means like, yeah, it would be interesting if the sailing would be a lot more would have a lot more to it, you know. With the storms and whatnot.
In the beginning, you would definitely have to travel a lot, but as I said, like fast travel is gonna be much more affordable. I'm gonna compare it to trade lines, kind of because like 10k to like a sparrow player, that's like a life. That's more than life savings. But for some like low trader who trades, not low trader, just I'm not really familiar with the current economic status of trade lines, because I know the cargo update thing just made like houses much cheaper, or affording rent for your house, the tax, and I'm pretty sure the tax was even lowered, so it's made much better. That's what I really didn't like about traders before. When I had a house, is that I had to like cargo trade for like 9 hours. The cargo trade did not give us a lot of money, and the tax was pretty high. But now both of these things have been solved, so I really like that. But I kind of got bored of trade lines before those improvements were added.
Well, that's the thing. Trade lines have become sort of this trade game where you play with other players, and you know.
I was gonna say something. Yeah, but in this you travel a lot. But as you, because I was making the comparison between like the sparrow player and the higher player, like 10k. That's something that they would spend in an hour or less than 10 minutes. It's the same thing here. Just fast traveling will cost a very tiny amount if you're very progressed into the game. If you're very, but if you're a beginner, that's like, oh, I have to spend half of my savings to this island. That's not worth it. I'm gonna stay over there.
When do you plan on adding more ship diversity?
Ship diversity.
Because before you had this idea where you wanted like these sort of template ships.
The ship of the line, the Zebek, or the XEDEC.
So you're gonna make
Mediterranean ship. I'm not sure.
So you'll make like the class of ships, and then people can customize them as they will. Because before your idea was
like the flute. The flute is just like it's just like a Dutch galleon. It's gonna be like a side ship. There's the main line and there's the side line. So after you get the galleon, you unlock. It's like a cousin, which is the flute, but it's not part of the tech tree. It's like on the side. It's kind of the same thing here. Like instead of getting a sloop, the cousin of the sloop is the cutter. I forgot. It's probably not. But it looks just like the sloop. It's not. It looks kind of like the sloop, but it's gonna have some perks that the sloop doesn't, like having the ability to dock it on a big ship. And it's gonna have like a different structure in general. Just that there's like a second kind of sloop in the game, with some minor improvement. And
then you have to get a premium pass to buy it, and then you have to have Robux. And
and then like the flute is like again it's like the Dutch galleon, because the galleon is Spanish, and the flute is Dutch, and it has like a slightly like curved structure. I'm not really sure what the flute would have instead of the galleon, but it would have a strength that the galleon doesn't have, but it would have a weakness that the galleon doesn't have. So it would be like a different. I guess the flute, I'm pretty sure, is more maneuverable, so it might maneuver easily. It might be slightly faster. It might be more maneuverable. Get off the helm. Get off the helm. You'll get a thingy. The frigate is just gonna be. It's gonna come before the galleon. It's gonna have the same firepower as the galleon probably, but it's gonna definitely win every match with the galleon just because it's more maneuverable. It can stern lock and bow lock the galleon. The galleon, I guess, technically won't have blind spots because it's gonna have a cannon here, and also on the back. But just having 2 cannons fire at you, or just 1 cannon fire at you, that's not really good.
But I think you mentioned earlier, like if you shoot certain parts of the ships, they fall off, right? So if you were able to get a snipe on us.
If you destroy all the rigging, you have the ability to have the mast break, and once it breaks, you won't. I'm still deciding whether you'll be able to fix it in the import or not import, because I want mast breaking to be like the final straw, destroying your maneuverability. Because without the mast, you lose like or it's for the galley, you lose a third of your speed. Or in a third of your maneuverability. Usually if you break the rigging for this mast, it's connected to the rigging of the other ships. So if you destroy the rigging for the middle mast, it will also partially destroy the rigging for the other ones. And it will be easier to destroy the other ones as well. So you'll need to fix the rigging quickly, because if you don't, if the rigging stays unfixed, the mast will probably like fall down from like 1 or 2 shots, and once it does, it will be either very hard or impossible to fix in the middle of sea. You have to go. You have to go to the port and fix it, and I don't really think that's really an option if you can't move.
The crane ship, a ship with a crane on it, so you can repair your mast.
You also have to worry about your flooding, your fire, your cannons being shot up. You have to worry about a lot of things.
That's why you have AI people to do your bidding, right?
Yeah, because you can't do all these things at once. I don't know people having like 20 friends just on standby.
Imagine having friends.
So you'll have to have NPCs do a good amount of the work. And there's only a certain amount of hammocks that you can have on the ship, and 1 hammock equals 1 crew slot. So you can't really spam hammocks on your ship and have like a really crowded ship. You have to actually you have to like ration your crew members and like divide them based on the. So if there's a lot, you might have some crew working on the sails to go down and help the flooding, because you'll be able to like slow down the flooding. I will have an ability to fix the hull integrity, but it's going to be painstakingly slow. So that to like sustainably do that is just if you're in the middle of the ocean. Because if you're alone in the ocean, you're not going to have people on the cannons. You might just have them slowly fix the ship, and that's kind of how I want things to be. You can only do 2 things. So there's 3 things. I guess your crewmen can be on the cannons, be on the sails, or be repairing. And you can only do 2 things. You can only do 2 of them at max. Or if you have not enough crewmen, you can only do 1 of them. So you'll have to make decisions. Do I want to have, or do I want to have some crewmen working on the lower decks, using the water pump to pump water out of the ship, or do I want to have more crew members fixing the rigging? Do I want to have more people work on the cannons? You have to decide. You can't just have all 3. You have to sacrifice one for the other. The only way to really overcome this is have players go on your ship, because they won't require hammocks and all that stuff. They can just join your crew. Because there will be a hunger bar in the game. It's mainly there to just have a way to heal yourself without needing food. I mean, if you eat like, I don't know, like meat or something, it will immediately heal you, and then it will also increase your hunger.
Before you had this idea where like you mentioned eating at a table, having an actual feast. Is that still something you plan?
Yeah, if you eat while sitting down in like a dining area, the modifier will increase by like a lot. And if you're sleeping in a hammock or a bed or anything like that, you like heal. You actually heal yourself, like despite your hunger level. So like in 1 second you might in 1 second you might like gain 3 health points back. A character has 100, so you basically stay on the if you're very low, you would stay in a hammock for like a minute or 2, and then you'd be full health.
Like you could have like doctors or like professions, a chef for the ship, a doctor for the ship.
No, it's way too complicated for. Maybe, but not right now. If a crew member dies, both player and crew, they have to wait like a minute before respawning. There's also the food pantry, which is gonna be added soon, but your crew members are not gonna be. You hire them initially for coins, or you'll have to put food onto the pantry so that they don't starve. Of course, if you don't feed them, they're just gonna mutiny. They're not gonna mutiny you. They're just gonna leave.
Mutinies would be a cool concept, though, like having to fight your own crew members because they decide.
I don't really want to add that. That sounds a little bit
too much.
Listen, if you don't feed your crewmen, they're just gonna leave, and you're gonna have to manage a huge ship by yourself. That's why if you're a sloop player, you first join the game, you're not gonna have to worry about the helm forename. You're not gonna have to worry about the tiller or the helm ropes.
How many crewmates can you have in a sloop? Just one or two?
It's probably gonna be like 2 maximum, but you're not. It's very easy to manage on your own. You don't really need crew members on your sloop.
But sorry, I only play sloop. I'm primarily a sloop player. I main sloop.
That's cool. Yeah, so the beginning stuff, it's not going to be very complicated. It's just going to be, you have to just worry about getting, you're just going to have to find hidden treasures.
You keep saying that. Really what's a hidden treasure?
Like, you find an abandoned shipwreck or an abandoned, you just find a chest in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, inside the chest, so you get, like, cool stuff.
The legendary Straddle of Babushka.
Yeah, whatever that is, sure.
It'll be a little spoon that you can whack people with and make super with.
Yeah, sure. That's gonna be added, sure. There's also gonna be 3 branches that you can play as: Navy, Merchant, and then like what's the third one? Pirate. Navy and Merchants will be on the Central Trading Company team, the one that we're on right now. You'll also be neutral, which just means you'll net neither of those. And on the neutral team, you can be neutral hostile or neutral passive. If you're neutral passive, you're immune to PvP. You can't fight anyone else, and you can't be attacked, and you can't attack others.
Kind of baby.
Neutral hostile is like PvP rule in Tradelands. You can attack everyone, and you can attack your own team. You can attack everyone that's not on neutral passive. So you can attack pirates, you can attack the Central Trading Company, you can attack everyone. You can attack your own teammates. It's meant as like a way to do PvP all. So you can change your team if you're in a port. And it's just, I guess, because I know groups like to skirmish each other, and I guess that's a cool way to have that.
So, if you go to the edge of the map, outside of the turbulent seas, what will happen?
Yeah, nothing. You'll just
sail into oblivion.
The waves are not gonna get bigger. They're just gonna go to their like normal height. Okay. The normal how if you're not near an island, like the waves will be big. It'll just be like that forever.
Oh.
Well, I want to have the campaign stuff synced with like because there's like the story mode part of the game. The beginning, the first one is also the first campaign story mode thing is also the tutorial, and it shows how you got into the game. Your origin story is that you something from the old world made you not like it, so you just came here for opportunity. And then there's also story modes. That's how you get more stuff, like the blueprints for the new ship, for the advancements of new ships. There's also
what about krakens? You mentioned earlier about krakens and giant whales and all these other like realistic pieces of
stuff I said about half a year ago. I'm not sure about those.
Half a year ago.
The kraken, maybe. Other stuff, probably not. Alright, I'm gonna go through the Navy stuff. So when you first join, you're on the neutral passive team as a sloop player. You just get, you know, abandoned stuff, the hidden treasures, and then you go through like this campaign story mode thing, and then once you play it, you discover how you learn about like the navy, you learn about merchants, you learn about a pirate. You can choose to be one, or initially as a pirate, you'll go on other people's crew. You go onto an NPC pirate's crew or your friend's crew or something like that, and then you just plunder your way up. If you're in the navy, it's like being a pirate, but the opposite. You protect merchants and you hunt pirates. You capture them, you put them in your brig, and then you send them to the justice system to be tried for their crimes against merchants and other people. And being neutral just means you're neither of those. And you can be that if you just want to not be affiliated. If you want to be like a Swiss person, you can be on the neutral team. The two factions that are mainly fighting each other. If you're neutral hostile, I guess you are fighting everyone, but that's kind of different. It's more of a your preference kind of thing. Because if you're on navy, if you're high level and you suddenly like become a pirate and attack people, you're gonna have your rank diminish pretty quickly, because you know, having like the head of the Royal Navy or something like that just suddenly be a pirate, you know, they're not gonna be very they're gonna probably be demoted, and that's what's gonna happen in the game. So being a neutral hostile, basically you can attack everyone and you can basically pirate people as a navy admiral. But the difference is that you don't get any economic benefits. You just get economic benefits of raiding people. But it doesn't really matter, because as a navy admiral, as a high-ranking navy or a high-ranking pirate or a high-ranking whatever, you basically have a lot of money to spare. Mostly doubloons. You have a lot of doubloons to spare, but not necessarily crowns. Because crowns are like the player transferable stuff. I'm not really sure what the main way to get crowns is going to be, but in terms of doubloons, you're going to be very rich in doubloons. You'll be able to buy a lot of things with them. You'll basically be very rich, so there's no incentive to pirate people. How it works is you're kind of like contracted to carry the cargo. So if you just like leave the central trading company team, the cargo will just despawn. But at the same time, you never purchased the cargo in the first place. You were just tasked to transport them. So you don't really lose any money if you have your cargo despawned. You just lose your time.
And time equals money.
Well, you chose to do that. You chose to abandon your task. So you're the one who decided to abandon it in the first place. They got the money from the captain. If the captain sells it or the crewman sells it, everyone in the crew will get the money. But you will have to be part. But as a crew member, you'll get your task from the central trading company will be the captain's one, and you'll be paid from that. You might get taxed a little bit, because it kind of doesn't really incentivize us to trade on your own. Trading in fleets is fine, but just trading on one big ship, I don't really want to incentivize that. So there's going to be like a small tax, maybe not small. Depends how we see. I'll try to balance it a little bit, but there is going to be a tax for getting money. But if you're the captain, you don't get taxed. You get all the money.
Oh.
But again, you need to remember, because if you're like a high level merchant, you get like your cargo is like you transport really high quality cargo. You might transport pure gold or something like that, and like having a level 1 merchant just be there and just getting a lot of money is kind of balanced. That's why the tax exists. It's just so that, you know, the gap between their progression in the game is not too far. You know, if you're a level 1, if you just started in the company, the central trading company as a merchant, you're not really going to be trusted. They're not going to trust you to transport good quality cargo. They're going to like, okay, you can transport this really worthless piece of cargo, and then as you play, as you become a merchant, they gain your trust, and then they trust you more, so that you get access to better cargo, which means more money. And again, the selling price is mostly going to be the cargo itself, not where you sell it. So the distance is not really going to matter that much. It's going to be a slight multiplier from pirates that are nearby through like the pirate map thing that I said before, but that's gonna be the main way as a merchant. And as a merchant, that's just one way to gain money. You're gonna gain equally as much money as a pirate or a navy, because it's gonna be NPC ships, NPC merchants, NPC navies, and NPC pirates as well. So you're never gonna have a lack of supply of people. So if you're a pirate, there's gonna be an NPC galleon full of cargo unprotected. Like those will happen more than you think. So there's gonna be like things to do, especially if the game sees that you've been like looking for targets for a while and you haven't found any. It will probably spawn one in front of you. It will probably spawn some, like one or two good juicy galleons that you can steal from. So that's kind of how it's, and kind of the opposite for the navy. Navies will also have like tasks. Basically, all the three like the three like jobs that you can do will basically be task oriented. So you don't have to do them 24/7. You accept a task, and then the captain like holds that task, and all the crew are part of that task, I guess.
Because players
just
players might dramatically affect the gameplay. But from what you're saying is there's going to be a lot of AI play in it as well, right? And the game's going to try to bring
NPC, yeah.
NPC. So would that mean like would the game be still somewhat playable even if it had a lower player base?
I guess so. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's kind of one of the main reasons why I made private servers free, like a few months ago, just to make people familiar with free private servers, or at least very low costing private servers. Because I don't really want the game to be based on others. The only aspect of the game where I want it to be based on others is the optional crown, the optional player economy. But it's, the player economy is mainly geared towards collectible items like the Jenga and stuff like that. Cosmetics that are very rare to get, not necessarily the stuff like essential stuff like ship parts or ammunition. I guess you could technically buy some from players, but there'd be no reason to, because NPCs sell ammunition for like a base price, and that price will never change. So it's not really profitable to make a business selling round shot. So I guess it could be if you're selling it for lower than what the NPCs sell them for. Like if you're mining the iron and you're the one making the round shots that yourself, and you're selling them to other players for like a lower amount, because I'm gonna make it so that a good amount of NPCs also accept crowns, just so that the crown has value. And again, I said the exchange rate is gonna be pretty bad. If you buy like round shot or some form of item with the doubloons, and then you sell them for crowns, it's gonna sell for a lot less with the crown, because you're not really meant to sell stuff for crowns to NPCs. The main way to get crowns is, I guess, once in a while you'll get a task from like the merchants, or one task from a pirate that will say like, oh, we're gonna pay you in crowns for this task. But those will be pretty, they won't be very common, they'll be uncommon. And of course, there'll be like a lot more, there'll be a variety of tasks that you can do. And that's one thing, I don't want the game to be repetitive, because that's what the game is right now. The main reason why it's repetitive is there's not a lot of content. It's definitely going to take a while to make the game good, because there needs to be content, and making sure that the game system revolve around the content, and not just have the content just be there and do nothing. Of course, the game's not going to last forever. But if the game's just mundane, If it's just the same, it's not gonna be fun. People will always get bored of the game. It's just a matter of how long can I make people stay. How long can the game be fun? Because eventually all games will be boring for years and years and years.
I mean, that makes sense. You don't want to work on a dead project, right? Or something like that. Oh, by the way, what's up this sky?
Oh, those are the nature packs. There's like a century nature. I forgot what it's called. It has all the placeholders. So like, you see how there's plants and stuff.
Yeah.
In that lot. I've made the trees, but the main big rocks I didn't make those. I used the nature pack thing because they look cooler, and I might replace them soon, but I don't really have plans to. It's just that I can compare, just get references. And I can also use placeholders to see what it would look like if I had like a lot of bushes.
How long does it take to create an island?
The island is, again, I generate all the islands from a noise map, and the trees and the those stuff, they're generated from another noise map, which is different each server. Because it's a lot of islands, I don't really want to decorate them much. I'd rather spend like a week making a script. Perfecting. Also, it's right now it's homogeneous, so you can see that the trees are like the same everywhere. Like they're not like there's no like forest or stuff. There's no like areas that have no trees. It's like the same everywhere. I'm gonna make it so that some areas might have more like dense trees, and some areas will have like more plainy areas, I guess. And again, it's gonna be different each server. So there's some uniqueness to every time you play. Also, the big rocks, like the huge ones, I put those there. And the one in the cove over there, I also made them. And that's also how the ocean floor works in the main game. I haven't made it in this one, but it just uses the same noise map as the one that the terrain used. Just there's an ocean floor. The ocean floor is not used by. It's not used by the. Not the same one as. It's not like the terrain Roblox strike. It's just a part. It's just a skinned mesh. It's deformed. The main issue with it is that the textures don't link, and I'm not sure. I don't know where the sand terrain for the terrain for the sand is. So yeah, I don't know where that one is. So I can't really find it. So I can't really link it up. And there's definitely gonna be a break. But there's like a new material thing, so I can make the sand texture the same everywhere. And that would be pretty cool because like it will be hard. Like the difference between the terrain and the ocean floor is gonna be almost seamless. So you won't know where the island terrain starts, and it will just look much cooler. And it will actually make the world more better because you will actually know where because it will actually seem like there's
like a consistency.
Yeah. I did add kelp stuff before, but I did the scripts as a prototype in the first place. Yeah, so there was kelp forests that generated, and rocks underwater, and fish, and everything. The fish and the kelp I made, but the fish was like a free mesh I found online on the toolbox. I just added it. I just skinned it so that it would have the bones on it. So it was a skin mesh. Just so that, you know, the fish had animation. But it wasn't my model when even though I could use it, I want to have my own stuff. Unless it looks really cool, like this rock. It uses the new house models, and I don't want to delete the house models, so I'm just going to keep it there. There's no harm in keeping it there, so I'm just going to have it there.
I see you made it much smaller now. It's like 3 houses.
It's going to go inland more. It's the thing with the a lot of my ports and stuff way outside, like they're not inland more. There will be independent villages like in the bigger islands where it's just like 3 to 4 houses in the middle of the island. That's not a port, and they might have like one shop that sells. Yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know else what to say. I said I went to detail in the event, the streaming thing. I want to go now. All right.